Hey everybody, this is the one and only Nicky V here, and I'm finally going to be uploading original content. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Here's what's going to happen. After the Monday Night Football game is over, I am going to be uploading a recap video of sorts. Basically, I'm going to be highlighting players who had really big games who aren't owned in very many fantasy leagues. People that can help you if you need help on the waiver wire. I'm going to be trying to have at least one player at each skill spot. One quarterback, one wide receiver, one running back, and one tight end. So, let's go ahead and get started with the quarterback. And this game, or this week, I like Sam Bradford. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Nick, you can't possibly rely on a rookie quarterback for fantasy purposes. Teams can't hardly rely on a rookie quarterback in real life. I'll give you that. As of late, rookie quarterbacks haven't really impressed us. I mean, the last one that did was Matt Ryan. And since then, we've had Joe Flacco, Matt Stafford, and who's the other one? Mark Sanchez. All three of them kind of had either bad rookie seasons or game manager rookie seasons. But judging purely off of this game, I don't think that either of those are going to apply for Sam Bradford. 32 for 55, 253 yards with a touchdown and 3 interceptions. Okay, first, let's talk about that 55 attempts. Not sure, but I think that's an opening day rookie record. Okay, I'm not sure if that's true. I think I saw it on the bottom bar on Sunday Night Football at halftime or something like that. I don't know. Moving right along. And some of you may complain about his 3 interceptions. Let me put it to you this way. 3 interceptions on 55 attempts, that's not bad. Okay? I personally think that even some pretty good quarterbacks would have trouble doing that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if Jay Cutler had that same pass or completion and attempts ratio, I'm pretty sure that he'd probably throw 3 interceptions too. So, yeah, moving right along. When a team relies on this many, when a team relies on a rookie quarterback this heavily, this early in the season, it really tells me that this is not a one game fluke. Granted, 55 might be a little too much for every single week, but I don't think it's too crazy to think that Sam Bradford could have maybe, 30 attempts per game or something. Maybe a little less. But he's only owned in 24% of fantasy leagues, which means he could possibly help you out. And think about this. The Rams are going to be behind a lot. So they're going to be relying on Sam Bradford a lot. So and here's what seals it for me. He threw 55 times despite having Steven Jackson, okay? Arguably a top 5 running back, still passed it 55 times. I think that that's a good sign. I don't think that Sam Bradford is going to be filling a role of game manager this season, okay? I think that the Rams are in desperation mode. They need wins now, and they're not going to get it by playing game manager, okay? I mean, yes, we've seen that a lot recently with Flacco and Stafford and Sanchez, but I don't think Bradford's going to be doing that. So, yeah, 24% of fantasy leagues. I'm not going to be picking him up personally because this game wasn't really a great test, but over the next 4 weeks, they're going to be playing against some defenses that could be interesting. They're going to face Oakland, which, I don't know, they might be able to improve a little bit, but I'm not holding my breath. Washington, which was pretty good against Dallas, but a lot of that was because of Cowboys' mishaps. I'll have to wait and see what they have to offer in week 2. Seattle, which is kind of iffy. I'm not completely sold on Seattle's defense. And Detroit, which... right, moving on. So, yeah. Sam Bradford could be interesting. If you need help at quarterback, let's say maybe you had Kevin Cobb and Matt Stafford as your starters, Sam Bradford could get interesting. Next up at running back, we have Brandon Jackson. Now, this guy has big-time potential. Now, granted, in this game, he didn't exactly have a great game. He only had 63 yards rushing, but that's because he didn't play the entire game, okay? Ryan Grant got injured. He hurt his ankle, and he's already been ruled out for next week's game against the Bills. Let me repeat who they're going up against. The Bills, okay? That should tell you something. Big time yardage is expected. If Brandon Jackson doesn't rush for at least, let's go with 80 yards rushing, maybe throw in another 10 through the air, and a touchdown somewhere in there, it's going to be a disappointment because the Bills have the number 30 ranked defense in terms of against the rushing game. Brandon Jackson needs to step up, okay? And I think that it's very easy. He'll be very easily possible to do it. I worded that very poorly, but you get what I was trying to say. He should be in line for a good game. He's only owned in 20% of leagues, so there's a pretty good chance you can get him. I'm actually going to be picking him up in 2 of my 4 leagues. The other 2, one's a 20-team league, and he was already off the board. And the other one, I guess somebody handcuffed him to Ryan Grant. I don't know. But let's see here. 63 yards, along with another 12 yards through the air. And head coach Mike McCarthy says he did a good job at picking up blitzes. So this is a good all-around player. Brandon Jackson could. Actually, I'm not even going to say could. He will be something to look forward to next week when he faces off against the Bills. And if Ryan Grant's out for longer, then the games after that are Chicago, Detroit, and Washington. Those games could be interesting too if Ryan Grant's not back on the field by then. Then we go to wide receiver, and we're going right back to the St. Louis Rams with Mark Clayton. Now, when the Baltimore Ravens started stockpiling good wide receivers, I mean with Derek Mason and Anquan Bolden and T.J. Houshmandzadeh, I really thought that Mark Clayton's fantasy days were over. Granted, they never really got started, but still, I didn't have high hopes for him. Then he gets traded to St. Louis, and all of a sudden, he's a star. Well, maybe not. It's only one game. You can't really tell us what this guy's going to do in every game in the future based off of this one game against the Cardinals. But it's looking pretty good for Mr. Clayton, doesn't it? So, here's the deal. Donnie Avery goes down for the season. Now the Rams don't have any really clear number 1. Granted, they didn't really have a clear number 1, but Donnie Avery was looking the part. He goes down. Who do you have left? Let's see here. Keenan Burton, Laurent Robinson, Danny Amendola. Does any of those guys sound like fantasy stars to you? Granted, Mark Clayton doesn't either, but he was the one who picked up 119 yards on 10 receptions for a career high in receptions for the record. That's pretty dang good, I'd say. And I sounded really country right then. Moving right along. But coming up in the next couple of weeks, Oakland, Washington, Seattle, and Detroit, as I've said earlier. Those games should be okay. Well, maybe not Oakland and Washington, considering that, like I said, Mark Clayton is the number 1 guy on that team. And in those 2 games, he'd probably be going up against Nnamdi Asomugha and D'Angelo Hall. D'Angelo Hall might not be as bad as Nnamdi, but Oakland might be a challenge for him. But after that, I could see some pretty interesting games coming from him. So, I'm actually going to be picking up Mark Clayton in one of my leagues. So, he's somebody that I think can be pretty good. And finally, tight end. This was kind of a tricky one because we had Tony Moyeki, who came up pretty big in the Monday Night Football game, helped Kansas City pull off a shocker against the San Diego Chargers. I actually personally, on my 20-team league, have Rob Gronkowski, which helped me out since he scored a touchdown, but Can you really consider one catch for 1 yard for one touchdown impressive? It's nice, but I don't see anything. I don't see anybody rushing to the waiver wire to pick up Gronkowski. Personally, I think that the tight end for you guys to look forward to has got to be Mercedes Lewis. Okay, granted, he basically had a sort of a similar line to Gronkowski, but here's what he had: 2 receptions, 31 yards, 2 touchdowns. That 2 touchdowns makes things interesting because here's the thing: Mike Sims Walker didn't catch a single ball in the entire game against Denver. Now, I'm not gonna write him off because I have Sims Walker in one of my leagues, so I don't want to write him off just yet. But I think that Mercedes Lewis could turn into this season's Desante Shanko. You know, a player who was basically off the radar and then turned into a red zone magnet. So I think that Mercedes Lewis could be interesting. He's got, in the next few games coming up, there's San Diego, Philadelphia, Indy, Buffalo, and Tennessee. So those could be interesting matchups. Other than Philadelphia, I think all of those guys have defenses that tight ends can do fairly well in. Excuse me. He's only owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues. Oh, I forgot to mention Mark Clayton. He's only owned in 15% of leagues, so that's pretty good. But yeah, Mercedes Lewis only owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues. I'm not going to be picking him up personally because I'm pretty much set at tight end. I have good options all around. But if Mercedes Lewis keeps up this kind of pace, I will find room for him. So, yeah, that's just about it. Let's recap. Sam Bradford, 24% of leagues. Brandon Jackson, 20% of leagues. Mark Clayton, 15% of leagues. And Mercedes Lewis, 29% of leagues. All these guys, basically, they're probably going to have at least 3 of those names on your team or on your fantasy league's waiver wire. So, I think that those guys could be in line for a bit of a, well, maybe not a bit, but I think that those guys could have themselves a breakout. Now, for my future plans, I'm probably going to upload maybe 2 videos a week or so about fantasy football. Maybe a player pass thing. Maybe a game of the week. I don't know. Basically, I'll upload stuff whenever stuff comes to my mind. But, yeah, that's just about it. See y'all later.